Hi, I'm Mrs. Ali. I'm with the Eastern Iowa Arts Academy. Today we're going to be making Under the Sea Orcas.
Okay, so for our orca drawing today, you're going to need at least a piece of paper and a pencil. If you don't have coloring supplies, that's okay. So it doesn't matter the size of paper either, whatever you have is fine. And then some type of pencil, preferably if you have an eraser too of some type to be able to erase any mistakes, that would be good. We're going to focus on the orca part of this drawing. So I know my original copy has a bunch of other stuff. We'll get to that if we have time, but first we're going to start with the orca and then we'll add on background stuff later. So we're just going to concentrate on this part for now. And again, if yours ends up being just a pencil drawing, that's okay. You don't have to have coloring supplies. So your paper can either go the tall way, or if you prefer, it can go a short way or a long way. Kind of depends what you want to put in the background. So if you want maybe mostly ocean stuff, I would do it this way so that you can see the orca and then just stuff behind it in the ocean. Or you can turn it vertically and do it like this one so you have room for landscape maybe on top of the ocean, but it doesn't matter, whatever way you want to turn your paper. To start with, we're going to start with the dorsal fin of the orca, so that's the top fin up here. We're going to put the dorsal fin pretty much in the middle of your paper. So sometimes it helps to point to the middle so you know where you're going to draw. So I'm going to draw here-ish. I'm going to make a triangle that's about an inch-ish tall, but not do the bottom. So I'll show you here. I make it a little bit curved. Looks kind of like a shark, top of a shark fin. And then don't do a bottom part of the triangle. All right, next we're going to add the head, the top of the head of the orca. So I'm going to start here at the corner of my fin, and I'm going to curve up a little bit. So kind of like a flattened rainbow line to be the top of his head. Next, I'm going to add the top of where his tail is going to be. So again, this is going to be a curved line, but we're going to do it a little bit longer. But make sure you leave some space at the end for his tail fin or her. Next, I'm going to add the bottom section of the body of the orca. So I'm going to add just a little bump here to be kind of like a nose. But I'm going to curve a big kind of flattened U line all the way down to be kind of like its belly. And then I'm going to leave a little gap over here for the tail fin. Now, I don't really like this bump I made. I'd rather it be a little bit smooth. So I'm actually going to erase that and then kind of change my line a little bit. So if that happened to you on anything you draw, just go ahead and take some time and erase. It's important that you draw lightly so it erases better. I'm drawing darker so that it shows up on the video. There, that U line's a little bit smoother now. Oh, I also like to turn my paper a lot when I draw. To me, that helps. So feel free to turn your paper to adjust. Next, we're going to add the tail fin at the end. So to start with, I like to do the V part first. So I'm going to put a dot right there. That's where I want the center of my V to go. And then I'm going to curve out. So it's a V this way, sideways. And then I'm going to curve it back. So I'm going to connect this point to this point. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, make any adjustments you need. on anything we've done so far. All right, next we're going to add the 2 fins here at the bottom. We're near his belly. So one fin is going to be on this side, so it's going to overlap this line. So it's about halfway, I'd say, from this. So it's going to go here and about there. So if I were to pretend this line were to go up here, it would be almost at the point of that. And this line is on this side. Okay, so you've got 2 dots. They'll just kind of help you make your U shape for the fin. So then we're going to do a curved U. And then we're going to erase this belly line inside the U because this fin is on top of where the belly is from this viewpoint. So I leave the rest of this line though. Just that little part on the inside of your U you want to erase. Now we're going to draw the other fin that's on the other side of the whale's belly. So we're going to do another U. Next to it. And again, feel free to erase or adjust anything you need to. So okay, if it's not exactly like mine, I never draw it exactly the same each time. Next, we're going to add an eye. So I think it's pretty much in the center here of its head. Orcas, a lot of times people think this is the eye, this white part. It's actually just a spot on their body. They do have an actual eye that looks similar to a human eye. So we're going to draw this eye first before we add the white spots. So about right here in the middle of my eye, I'm going to do a little tiny rainbow line for the top of the eyelid. And then a U shape underneath. So it's kind of like an almond shape. Next, we're going to add a circle inside that touches the top and bottom of the almond shape. Sorry if that's kind of hard to see. It's tiny. And then I like to add a reflection circle. So you're going to add one more little circle in the corner. And then color in the bigger circle, leave that tiny circle white. I'll kind of hold this up a little closer. So you can see that white dot. That's just the light reflecting off of his eye. All right, next we're going to add the white spots of the orca. So I'm going to start with the white of its belly. So this will kind of give you a mouth because the top half is black and then the bottom half of their mouth is actually the white part. So we're going to start up here in the point of the head, and we're going to make a smile line that goes right under the eye. Then we're going to add a curved line that goes down from this point under the eye. So that line I just drew. I'm going to connect it here to the fin. So it's going to curve down. So what I'm doing is I'm adding the separating line where the black and the white is here on its body. Now that white part is going to come through the other part of its fin. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to kind of follow its belly curve. So there's like an inch or two-ish, about an inch I'd say, from the tail. Then I'm going to add, like we did a U shape here, but it's going to go the opposite direction. So it's going to go up this time, curve around, and back down. So it'll kind of look like this is going to be like a big U. And again, I'm going to smooth out this line a little bit more. It's kind of bumpy. Okay, next we're going to add the white spot that's above its eye. So this is just an oval shape. All right, so next we're going to color the black part of the orca. If you have pencil, you would just color with pencil that this is going to be black. Here, I'm just going to kind of scribble. You're going to actually color it, but just to show you. This is all black. That stays white. That stays white, but this fin is also black. So again, the fins are black. All the fins. Around here, the top part is black. Leave this white. Leave the eye how it was. And then leave this bottom U part white. So I'm going to color with black marker really quick just so you can see it a little bit better. If you have pencil, you would fully color it gray or whatever color your pencil is. If you have markers, crayons, or color pencils, you're welcome to go ahead and color that. If you don't, just go ahead and use your pencil and you'll still color in that black part. I like to trace my outside or outline first before I color it in. You don't have to do that, but to me, it kind of helps keep track of where stuff is going to go. So I'm just outlining it first. So again, if you have pencil, you can also do this outline. So that just means you're going to press harder with your pencil to get your lines to show up better, since you were probably drawing lightly to begin with. Okay, so then I'm going to color all the fins black. So if you have pencil, this might take you a bit longer, or color pencil or crayon or something smaller. So I'll go kind of slow to give you time. If you finish coloring before me, you could start thinking about other things you want to put in your background for Under the Sea. So if you've ever seen The Little Mermaid or Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, those movies have a lot of under the sea creatures to kind of give you ideas to add if you've never been to the ocean. I've been to the ocean, but I've never seen any of these up close. So my marker is kind of dying, so I'm kind of coloring in circles to try and get it to fill all my white spots. So if you have a marker that's kind of dying like mine, that sometimes helps. So remember, you're going to leave that white spot, leave the belly white, and then the top half is black and the fins are black. Be really careful going around your eye that you don't accidentally color over it. I'm just going to go right around it so I can still see the little white parts of the eye. All right, so we have some time so we can do a little bit in the background. If you don't get every single part done in this drawing, that's okay. The main thing we wanted to learn was how to draw the orca, and then now we're going to add some fun stuff in the background. So again, you can think about different ocean creatures you might want to add. If you want to do this landscape part with the mountains and stuff above here, I can show you how to do that real quick. And then you can go ahead and add any coral or other sea creatures you want to add around your orca. So I'm going to switch back to pencil. So I'm going to add a horizon line. So that means where the sky meets the ground, or in this case, ocean. So this could just be a wavy line going across, or you can do fancy waves if you know how to do those. So for example, what I mean by fancy wave in my mind means this little swirl shape and go back around, come out. So I'll do that again. So like the next one, swirl in, swirl out, and then kind of like a diagonal down. Give room for one more. You could also just do a wavy line going across. And then if you want to add some hills and or mountains, things in the background. So I'm just going to do kind of a curved line. So this is going to be kind of like hills or a meadow. And then I'm going to add some mountains back here. A trick for mountains, if you want them to look more realistic, is don't draw perfect triangles. Real mountains are made of rocks, which do not have perfect edges. So they're going to be more bumpy and not look like perfect triangles. I'm going to add some snow to my mountains, so I'm just going to add some jagged lines. Again, these aren't like perfect triangles. They're kind of bumpy zigzag lines to represent snow. So this orca lives like near Alaska or something. To show grass, you could either do lines going this way, just to show texture so your audience understands what that's supposed to be. On this one, I actually put the grass kind of laying down that way. Either way, just add some texture to it. If you would rather just be drawing ocean creatures around your orca right now, that's also fine if you don't want to do this landscape part. Up to you. All right, so I'm going to do some coral now at the bottom, and then we'll see if I have time to add another little creature or something. So I like to add kind of stuff in the corners and then a small thing across the middle. You can do it differently, that's also your choice, but it just kind of helps frame where the orca is. So I'm going to put a curved line here. This is kind of like a rock or a coral or something. And then on this side, instead, I'm going to do some kind of wavy coral. To me, it kind of reminds me of when I draw flames. Actually, they've got these curved parts to it. So to start, I'm going to start down here. We're going to add a wavy line. Then it helps if you think of it like a U again. So I'm going to do more of a U. Then a wavy line. Then a wavy line back up. Then a U. And I'm just kind of changing the way I draw my wavy lines and U's each time, so they look a little bit different. So that can be some type of coral. You can also add some other shaped coral. There's a lot of different kinds of coral. Your science teachers could probably help you learn more about all these ocean things I'm adding here. So next I'm going to add a few little coral in this kind of fiery shape over here. So again, I'm just adding kind of U's and wavy lines. Your coral does not have to look exactly like mine. Again, I draw it different each time I do it anyway. And then this one, I think I want to make more kind of like flowery. It's not a flower, it's coral though. All right, then I'm going to add a line down here. So this is going to be like sand at the bottom. And then you could add a seashell or starfish, rocks, something down here. So I cannot draw starfish without doing the star first. So if you've never done that before, triangle, diagonal across, straight over, diagonal back to the beginning. Then you can always erase your inside lines or just color over it if you have markers later on. So that's my little starfish. I think I have time to do a quick turtle. So we're gonna do a small sea turtle down here for those of you that like turtles. So I'm gonna do one kind of like from the side since we're looking at the orca from the side. So we're gonna do a, oop, gotta leave room for my head. So I'm gonna do a curved line down here. Then a curved line back, but this one's a little bit flatter. Then I'm gonna add a rim. Kind of looks like a helmet. Add some lines to the rim. So this is a shell. Then I'm gonna add some straight lines, like 3-ish. Now we're gonna add V between those. Then another V. Then I'm gonna pretend that V keeps going. So V goes over here. So it ends up making like a zigzag with straight lines coming up the top. Then we're gonna do V's up here too, but I just see little triangles sticking out. Then straight line here, here, and here. If you didn't get those shapes exact, that's okay. At least divide it into sections. Then I'm gonna add his head. He's gonna have a head sticking out over here. So I just add a little turtle head there. So it's a sea turtle, so it's more pointed instead of round. Can add a little eye just like we did with the orca. If you want to add a little mouth, can. Then for the fins, this one's going to be coming out this side. So it's like he's swimming. This fin's kind of pointed back towards his tail. So the one there. Then we're going to add another one here. This one's going to be a little bit longer or bigger because it's the side closest to the viewer. Then I'm going to add one more over here. So this is back fin. And one more over here. So these kind of look like horns. And then a little tail, triangle tail sticking out. Then I'm gonna add a belly line to show that like his body is kind of sticking out a little bit down here. So there's gonna be a little line right there. And I just connected it through the end of the shell. I'm gonna hold this up so you can see a little bit better. And you could add any other ocean life you want. You don't have to do it exactly like mine. You can also add some little wavy lines to show that there's waves. A simple fish are always easy. So maybe I'll have one, trying to think of where I want it. Up here, we're gonna put a little oval, a little lips, kind of like a heart shape, and then a bigger heart shape, kind of curved. I don't come to a point usually. Add a top curvy fin, add a bottom curvy fin. I'm gonna do a bigger eye. And then some stripes. All right, so we are done with our orca under the sea orca drawing. You can add whatever things you have time for. If you have some extra time today, you want to add any more ocean life. Again, it's your drawing, so it's okay if it doesn't look exactly like mine. If you have coloring supplies and extra time too, you're welcome to color it in. I always like drawings colored in a bit more, especially if you aren't doing any shading, but hopefully you at least colored in the orca so we can tell which parts are black and which are white. I hope you had fun drawing your under the sea orca with me. Have a good rest of your day.